just kind of give me a little bit of an overview of kind of like where you started, what was going on with the shoulder, and what was like the main reason that you raised your hand and said, "Hey, I think I need some help with the shoulder." Kind of what was going on when you started?
I've noticed an increasing inability to do the basic things, to me, the basic things, reaching overhead or even reaching outwards without discomfort, sometimes pain. And when it came down to exercise, it was just pain. And it got to the point where now I have to back off on the exercise. And then what can I do to exercise the muscles that I need to fix the posture or fix the neck issues? Because it started off with neck issues when it turned out it was my shoulders. Sleeping was hard because, I'd wake up and everything was asleep from here down. And, when I did go to the doctor, the first thing they suggested is, well, we can do cortisone. And that's when I turned it down. And I thought, now maybe I need to go back to the doctor because I can't deal with the pain. And luckily somehow I came across your guys' videos and I thought, oh, okay, let's take a look.
Well, fantastic. And remind me, one of your big goals was like the hula dancing. What was difficult about the hula dancing before you got started?
Well, with the hula dancing, we have a lot of overhead movements, keeping your hands up in this position, having to reach overhead. And you can't fake that, when you have everybody else is doing it and you're doing halfway or making like it, you can't fake that. So I had to be able to have 100% completion of that movement. So
Absolutely.
there's notice the limitation there too. And I thought, I don't want to have to drop out because I can't do that. And whether if it was hula or if it was even if I went back to Tahitian, it's still the same thing. Hands have to go overhead. Have to. You can't fake this, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's too noticeable. So
Because you're in a group there.
correct, exactly. And if you're the only one in the group who's doing this, then what? Or there's just no way.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, how did you feel about like the structure of the rehab program? You got perfect compliance, following it all the way through. Did you feel like it was, effective and easy to follow?
Oh, yes, it was easy and I can do it at my own pace because, sometimes in the morning I can't do it in the afternoon. I would do it or in the evening. So whenever it was more comfortable, I was able to, oh, I can do this exercise now, and then I can do the others at another time during the day. So that made it very, very convenient. I would even do it at work sometimes. Oh, let me do this at work right now. I have a little time. And that's when my coach would medicine. What am I doing?
Yeah, and you said your coworker is. Yep. Exactly, exactly. And I guess like kind of like the layout of it being, 15, 20-minute routine, like 7 days a week, did that kind of work well for you?
Oh, yes. I mean, when it came to the rehab process, if I were to go to a traditional physical therapy office, what are you doing? You're scheduling your appointment maybe once a week or sometimes couple weeks, depending on their schedule or what they had prescribed for you. It's hard to have to travel to a location. So I do like the daily one just to get the initial part of it after that. With maintenance, I can see not having to do that every single day. But I think that was a lot of necessary movements that helped, because some of those movements I didn't even realize, "Okay, yeah, I remember I do this." Yeah, you don't think about those things that you do on a daily.
Absolutely, absolutely. I guess what do you feel like is like the biggest improvement you noticed since starting the program?
The biggest improvement was the lack of tingling that is occurring from the shoulders down. I've noticed that stopped. The clicking, the constant clicking is actually almost non-existent. I mean, there's a little bit of it, but I mean, now I know what I need to do to rectify that sometimes, or even if I feel a little bit of tingling, now I have the basis of knowing, "Oh, this is the reason why. Let me do the little bit of the flossing and what have you." That's helped a lot. And as a matter of fact, there's a funny thing is I had another dancer complaining, "Oh my gosh, when I do this, my shoulders just keep clicking and clicking." I'm like, "Hmm, let me talk to you after class."
Exactly. Everybody's shoulder, man, they have different stuff going on. And so, yeah, you mentioned that someone was saying they were going to like copy your programming. What did you say to them?
I told them about your program. I showed the app and I showed them this is what you do and this is what you can do. I mean, you guys think about it. A lot of people are hesitant.
Yeah. But what did you tell them about like how it might not work for them?
Well, I told them it's because my situation is different from theirs. I mean, my coworker who's copying my movement, she has a lot of neck issues, and I told her it could travel down to the shoulders possibly, but I don't know. I don't know your exact situation where your pains are. I mean, I told her what my pains were. She understood where I came from, and I knew mine was a postural issue, but a lot of it was because I was feeling the limitation of being able to do this.
Well, besides like, the mechanics of like having less clicking, having less pain, and like, being able to perform and participate, like what impact could that have on like your just like your mental and just like what it means for you to be able to move like that?
Freedom. I didn't know how when you have an injury or even certain limitations, how crippling it can be. I felt like the quality of life was going down. At my age, I mean, yeah, becoming 60, but still, I didn't want to be to the point where if I hit 70 that I was no longer able to move, whether it was moving my arms or shoulders or feet. I just didn't want it to start now. So it's free. My mind still thinks that I can do things that I was when I was 30. And I want it to be true.
Yeah,
So
fair. That's awesome. Well, I guess kind of going through things, was there any unexpected wins or like any unexpected benefits kind of that you discovered along the way?
with the exercise bands, once that was incorporated, that the simple movements even prior to that kinda taught me the foundation of moving properly.
Uh-huh.
So, when I see people at the gym where they're kind of forcing it, I'm thinking, "Okay, you know what? I don't know. It maybe works for them, but I know it's not gonna work for me structurally." 'Cause when you think about it from anatomy and physiology standpoint, right? You are working the wrong muscles if you're doing the wrong thing.
Yes. You're reinforcing those compensations and reinforcing those limitations, which make them harder to change in the future.
Right. Yeah. Because I
Yeah,
know that if I do this exercise wrong, I'm building this and not the back, and I'm like, "Okay, let me redo this again."
exactly.
You think
Targeting, thinking about what am I trying to target? What am I trying to get out of this movement? And having that like next layer of thinking is huge because it means you have a good understanding of the shoulder, how it works, what's supposed to be moving, and that makes you have a very good foundation for when you return to those like gym activities.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then even with the yoga movements, I would like to get back into yoga, and those windmill lift offs are a real butt kicker.
Yeah, this
I realize that on certain days, especially in the mornings, since I like to do that in the morning, and I thought, no, I can't do it in the morning because then to do this, and then it would get stuck. And I thought, okay, let me come back to this. And then later on, it's better.
Oh, fantastic. That was good there. Well, I guess for you, what would you maybe tell someone that's hesitant about doing the online, shoulder approach instead of just going in person somewhere?
Online, I think it's convenience. That seems to be a factor for a lot of people, at least I know. Time is precious to them, and them wanting to stop their workday or stop whatever they're having to do to physically go to a doctor's office or a physical therapist's office just to do the exercises or maybe even just once a week, where this is convenient. You do it from home. You can do it anywhere, really, and you have it right there on your phone, right there in the app. And that's a huge convenience, and I know a lot of people who don't have the time,
Yeah.
and I
Or
guess
people
that's
that travel a lot. The people that travel a lot or have very like demanding work schedules, they find it very challenging to go to a place like during office hours because they're like, I work office hours.
exactly, exactly.
So it's very tough to get in places.
I've asked, "Are you guys open on Saturdays?" "No." I'm like, "Okay, great. So now let me see what I can fit in Monday through Friday."
Exactly, exactly. Well, cool. Well, I guess, is there any, final thoughts? Anything else you want to share about just kind of your experience or results?
I am extremely pleased. I tell you what makes a world of a difference, though, to be able to move at least my arms again, and
Yeah.
not take for those little things for granted. I mean, reaching, that's always been a small thing that I never realized that we take that for granted. Some people can't do that without pain, and I can do that. I can do this.